pumps versus gas furnaces. Should you go all electric this winter? Comparing comfort costs and control in southern homes. Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. This slideshow is created by Bailey Shannon, Vivian Mackelman, and Brian Wilson, and presented by Pete and Brian. So why does it matter in the South? Well, in the South here we have mild winters, steep electric bills, and older systems that spark this question. Many homeowners ask, should I upgrade to a heat pump or should I keep my gas furnace? Well, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but there is a smart one for your home. Heating Smarter is about making intentional, informed choices that will work best for your environment. How heat pumps work versus gas furnaces. So a heat pump moves heat from the outside air to the inside, like an AC in reverse, whereas a gas furnace burns natural gas or propane to generate heat. A heat pump will work efficiently to around 30 to 40 degrees. Some of the newer models will heat efficiently to even colder temperatures, whereas furnaces heat very fast and feel hotter, but they're using fossil fuels. Pro tip, if your system looks like this, clean it and get maintenance on it. Any questions?
Is there any difference between the sound for a heat pump operating versus like the furnace?
Is there a difference between the sounds of the operation between a heat pump and a gas furnace?
Or do they make about the same amount of sound?
That's a very good question, and I will defer that question over to the expert, Brian.
There is a different sound, but you're coming from a different location.
Okay.
The heat pump is usually outside, or it has to be outside. Then you have the air handler inside. So you may hear the ignition of the furnace based on the location of the furnace, and then you may hear it running, and he maybe hear the air noise, but that's about it. Now, if the heat pump outside, you may hear it come on, you may hear it going into defrost. There are different noises, but we try to put them in a location where you're not going to be annoyed by it as much as possible.
Is it a pretty loud sound? Or?
It is not usually a loud sound.
Okay.
But sometimes they can, but for the most part, they have designed them where they're pretty quiet.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Does the maintenance or service differ between gas furnaces and heat pumps?
Yes, there is some different things you have to look at. At the air handler, you have the heat strips and the blower and the coil. Where the gas furnace, you'll have the inducer motor, the controls, the exhaust, and then you'll have the blower. And there's a few other components, a few more components in the gas furnace versus the air handler.
Okay.
So.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move along. So the pros and cons of heat pumps. One of the pros is a heat pump is energy efficient, especially in milder winters. You have dual cooling and heating in one system, so one unit does everything for you. The heat pump has a lower carbon footprint because it's using electricity and not fossil fuels. And one of the last pro for a heat pump is it's eligible for up to a $2,000 federal tax credit up until December 31st.
Well, that's the key point. It's up to this year, December 31st of 2025.
Right. So it would be a better idea to, if you're going to do a heat pump, to do it earlier rather than later. The cons of a heat pump, it may feel cooler when the heat comes on. The air comes out around 95 to 100 degrees versus the 100 to 120 to 130 degrees coming out when a gas furnace is on. So it's a warmer heat initially from a gas furnace than from a heat pump. And the efficiency on a heat pump drops at around 30 degrees unless using a cold climate heat pump. So they're not as efficient when the temperature really drops.
But with that, with the colder climate heat pumps, they tend to be efficient even down to 5 degrees. So that's the nice thing about the new technology.
Right.
It's really changed the things.
So whereas a heat pump, just a regular run-of-the-mill heat pump, at 30 degrees, your heat strips are going to have to come on. With the newer, more heat-efficient heat pumps, even down at 5 degrees Fahrenheit, the heat strips aren't coming on. It's blowing that hot of a heat where it doesn't need the backup. Make sense?
Yep.
These numbers depend on your situation, but the math is fairly accurate based on the best conditions. 10 SEER, going from a 10 SEER to a 15 SEER can convert into about 35% in energy bill savings. Going from 10 SEER to 17 SEER can convert into about 41% in energy bill savings. And a 14 SEER going to 17 SEER with 8 hours of runtime equals about 17.67% in savings.
That's the nice thing about that is just you hear so many times over the years that, boy, I wish I'd done this earlier because I've saved so much money on my power bill.
Right.
And rather than waiting until it's died, and it was just costing me more money to repair and to maintain and to limp it along. And then I was costing me more money in electric bills.
Right.
So that was an interesting thing that I ran across the other day.
Better to be proactive on replacement than reactive.
So
the pros and cons of gas furnaces. The pros of a gas furnace are you have warmer air output, which feels fast and strong. In winter, the airflow needs to be set correctly so you don't have a draft. A draft can cause a chill. So sizing the equipment correctly is a must. You have a lower upfront cost for replacement in many cases on gas furnaces. And for older homes with poor insulation and drafty layouts, a gas furnace will do better than a heat pump. The cons of a gas furnace are they're not eligible for the tax credits. The ongoing fuel costs and reliance on fossil fuels is another con. And there's no capability in a gas furnace for cooling. You have to have a separate AC for that. So whereas a heat pump has it all in one package, you have to have a separate package for air conditioning on a gas furnace. So what about dual fuel systems? They're great for homeowners who want the efficiency and the peace of mind. So it works this way. It uses a heat pump for the mild weather and a gas furnace for backup and for freezing temperatures. So what I like to tell folks is, say on a regular November, December day, when it's 40 and 50 degrees outside, your heat pump is going to heat your home effectively. But that night when it drops below 30, that's when the gas furnace is going to kick in and give you the backup heat that you need. Duke Energy offers some really good rebates when converting from all gas to a dual fuel. And up until December 31st, if you get the right dual fuel heat pump, you can get the $2,000 tax credit there as well. So you get the best of both worlds. You get comfort and energy savings and performance all at one shot.
I have a question real quick. So my parents have an older home. They've been there for 20 plus years. Their ductwork is kind of on the older side. Would that affect kind of how the dual fuel systems work? Did that make sense?
it does, but
Okay.
what do they have now is where I was going with that. Do they just have a heat pump? Do they have gas?
They've got a gas furnace.
Okay. Then I would think of, is the ductwork insulated properly? So in older homes, the ductwork, the insulation may be deteriorating. It could be even sealed up. Now, today's standards, our ductwork is much tighter. It's sealed up real tight, so air is not being leaked into the crawl space or attic. So that's critical. We've seen it time and time again where your actually, you have a lot of loss of heat in the crawl spaces. So as a service tech, when you're crawling in there and you feel it's nice and warm, you go, oh, this is nice to work in. But the heat from up, it should be going inside the house. So there are things to look at, and that's why you would replace the duct.
Okay.
2, you can have it clean, but that doesn't seal it. So that's the critical part. You're not pulling dirty air or damp air from the crawl space into the ductwork, and you're not sending heat into the crawl space. So that's really what you're looking at with an older duct system.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
You can do dual fuel with mini splits, right?
You can, let's talk about that a little bit. You're talking with an air handler, not a mini split head. So you can add what do I want to say, a conventional heat pump. It's a Mitsubishi. They have a coil and an outdoor unit. And then you can add it to the gas furnace that you already have in your house. The thing about it is you'd have to have their controls that marry up to the heat pump side of it to talk to the gas furnace. So it gets very complicated. They started doing it a few years ago, and it's worked okay. I've worked with it very little, so I don't have a whole lot of experience with it. But for the most part, it can be done.
Okay.
So can I go all electric if I currently have a gas furnace? Well, simply put, yes, especially in your newer or well-insulated homes. You may need an electrical panel upgrade because a lot of times the breaker box is already full and you're about to add a whole lot more power into that. So we may have to get an electrician involved to upgrade your electrical. You have to be aware of power outage risk though, because when you're all electric, you have no backup when the grid goes down. And certain equipment works great when paired with solar or battery, or Arctic Flex is one that works great with solar and battery. Think of electrifying your home like switching from a truck to a hybrid sedan. It's efficient and quiet, but maybe not the best for every job.
We have customers that have switched from gas to heat pump. Usually you need 150 or 200 amp service, and they've been very pleased with it.
Right.
And then one of our owners, he went from the gas furnace, gas with AC, to the Arctic Flex without the heat strip, so he wanted to see how it works in his house.
Right.
So from what I understand, it's been doing very well for him.
And we've heard from folks that the Arctic Flex heats warm heat just as almost like gas heat.
Yes, it's correct. So it's something in the technology, puts it in overdrive, that really does a great job.
So more and more homes and cities are pushing for electric-only heating because they want us to be less reliant on gas and fossil fuels, but it does put more pressure on the power grid. So be mindful that during outages, electric heat pumps won't run unless you have a backup, like a generator or battery.
One of the things I was thinking about that while we were talking about this the other day is the need for a monitoring system for the electrical power. A load center where if the brownouts, it will shut the system down to protect it, or if there's a spike in the voltage, it would not allow the system to be harmed either. So with the new technology, with the modulating systems, it's very important to look into these controls.
Something kind of like a surge protector? Or?
Surge protector, but it is a voltage regulator. That's what it is.
Okay.
So.
Great. So energy cost comparison. So gas, 90 to 95% efficient, but the fuel prices will fluctuate some. You know, just like your gas prices, it'll be $2.70 today and $2.95 tomorrow a gallon. A heat pump is 250 to 300% efficient in mild weather, but electric rates are stable, but they vary by provider. So Duke Energy in South Carolina is around 11 to 13 cents a kilowatt hour right now. And here's a bonus: inverter heat pumps only run at the speed needed, but not at full blast. It's kind of like your air conditioner in your car. You've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With the inverter, it turns it down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in your home as well. Isn't that right, Brian?
Yeah, it's based on the pressures and temperatures and how much run time and the coil temperatures and things like that, and it will regulate itself.
Right. Sometimes you may not even know it's on, but it's working. Any questions so far?
Now, the federal tax credits, they're going away, but the utility companies around here, they're still gonna incentivize people going electric with
In some cases, yes. In some cases, they want you to stay with gas, so there's less pressure on the grid. There's different options, so you really have to see what you want to do and how you want to go about doing it, and look into those options for the tax credits for the electric, the heat pump. And from what I understand, Pete, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're proactive and change it early, there's a higher credit. And if you wait until a major component breakdown, there's a less credit refund rebate. So
yeah, Duke gives like a proactive early rebate. Say on some higher efficient units, you can get up to $900 back from Duke if you replace it early. But if you have what we call a critical component failure, where the system has had a terminal failure, then it cuts it down to around $500 to $600. So you lose $300 or $400 in rebates just by waiting until it dies, so to speak.
but even still, if you go back to that slide we did earlier, where you're looking at the cost savings going from a 14 SEER to 17 SEER, and I believe now the minimum we can sell is a 15 SEER. So you're looking at the savings plus the potential breakdowns and stuff like that in older systems.
Right.
And now you have a warranty system with a newer system as well. So there are a lot of benefits to being proactive.
Absolutely.
So
Is there still going to be government pressure to regulate the energy efficiency of future systems? Like, will we have another refrigerant change in the future?
there's been talk about another refrigerant change, but I don't know to answer that question when. There's a lot of different options coming down the pike that I'm finding out about. So, and I haven't really researched it enough to say any more than that. But
I assume it's really dependent with these regulations on the type of administration.
Probably.
yes,
But you're always going to have the EPA looking to make things more efficient and greener, I believe. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So going back to the tax credits, I know that the federal tax credits are going to be expiring at the end of the year. And I know that there are some of the local rebates. Do you know if there are any other like incentives that will still be around after we get into 2026?
I think it's more with the local utility companies is all you're really going to see for now.
Okay.
Will that change? Again, we get back to what's going
Yeah.
on. So it's hard to say.
Okay.
Is it time to switch? So some questions you need to ask yourself. Is it time to replace my unit? Well, here's a good question. Do I want to reduce my carbon footprint? If you do, then you may want to go from gas furnace to a dual fuel or all electric. Are my winter bills too high? Then you definitely want to go to something newer because the efficiency is going to be better. Is my furnace over 15 years old? Absolutely. Right, Brian?
Yes.
Do I want a system that heats and cools? Do you want it to be a one-stop shop that does everything? Then you'll want to go to a heat pump. Do I want to qualify for tax credits and rebates? If you want the tax credits, then you definitely need to do it by December the 31st. And if you want the rebates, then yeah, you need to do that soon. Many multi-zone systems qualify for the $2,000 federal tax credits as well. They must meet the Tier 2 efficiencies, and there are some North Carolina and South Carolina utility rebates as well for those. Like we've been saying, during this whole time, that the federal tax credits are only available to the end of December. So maintenance and the comfort plans. Let's talk about comfort plans and our system options. We offer electric, gas, and dual fuel systems. Comfort plan members get regular tune-ups and peace of mind. We will assess your setup and make an honest recommendation for what you need. And these plans start at $19.91 a month, or you can pay for it all at once at $239 a year for one system. And then $199 a year for the second and third systems for those homes. Yeah, $20 a month is not a lot for the peace of mind that you'll get for having your system serviced.
And how many times do y'all come out?
We do 2 checks a year. And they also have other benefits with that is you, instead of waiting in line, you have preferred response times because you're a comfort plan member. Rather than if you're a new customer, we're going to take care of the people we have first. Then there's discounts because you're a member on the service calls if you ever need it during the in between. If you do need parts, there's a 15% discount. And then there's 5% on indoor air quality products like the dehumidifiers, and things along those lines.
Okay.
So there are quite a few benefits being a member.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I guess what are common misconceptions about going all electric that you hear from homeowners?
That's a good question. Some common misconceptions. I guess some, if they go all electric, they think their power bills are going to be through the roof. But in truth, the new systems are so efficient that the power bills don't really go up that much.
As we talked about earlier, we're getting away from the gas bill. We always say, this is what my power bill is, but if you do the two combined, how does that weigh out? So you're looking at the price of the gas bill and then the price of the electric. So it may even itself out, or maybe electric may be a little bit more. But now I don't have to worry about more controls, more things that can possibly go wrong with the gas furnace. For the most part, they are very good, but they do need to be maintained. So there's more to the gas furnace. So going all electric, there are a lot of benefits with that.
Are there any home insurance kind of implications, good or bad, when it comes to going full electric?
I don't think there's any implications. I don't think there's any difference. I don't think the insurance company recognizes that, to be honest with you. I don't know. I've never heard anything along those lines.
You would think they would.
Yeah.
Gas furnaces.
Right.
Right.
And then it's a whole safety issue.
An open flame in your crawl space, or
Fun.
yeah,
Or in the old systems with carbon monoxide.
Oh, goodness.
that would always be an issue with the gas appliance. Water heaters, dryers, gas stoves, gas logs. They always seem to have a little tin of a smell in them. So there's things to keep in mind.
So you're saying that the electric would be a little even more safer?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
I don't want to say the gas furnace, there's other controls. There's a lot of safeties in the gas furnaces today. So if there was to be an issue, there's safeties set up in place to really take care of you. So it's not as alarming as it may sound, but some people are definitely afraid of them. I do not want gas. I've had that over the years. But for the most part, all the safeties in there, they seem to take care of themselves. I've never had an issue.
Okay. Unrelated, how do the heat pumps affect indoor humidity control? Because if it's kind of your heating and your cooling, I know with like the regular air conditioning, it's got kind of the dehumidifier in there. I'm just curious about how humidity gets affected with the heat pumps. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the gas furnace, it tends to dry the air out more. So
Okay.
so you're going to have a lower humidity. And then with the heat pump, it will still, because of the heat, it's going to dry the air. So from what I've seen, the humidity will drop lower with a gas furnace, thus the need for a humidifier. With the heat pump, it's not as low. It's still drying the heat out, but not to the same degree.
Okay.
And I don't have an answer what percentages or something like
Yeah.
that, but it does work that way.
Yeah. I'm thinking back to my parents' house because they've got that older system and things like that, but they've also had a history of mold kind of finding its way back into the house. So
In the wintertime?
Yeah, just year round. So we're trying to find ways to like bring the humidity down a little bit, and so just curious about that.
In the wintertime, the humidity's high?
A little bit. I mean, it's not as high as in the summer.
Okay, that's where I was going with that, because usually
Yeah.
it is not as high.
Yeah, no.
Like usually it's coming from the outside in. Or there's something, a water leak someplace, or something in the sewer line that's creating moisture. So that maybe need to look at, something to look at. So I don't know.
Okay.
It just seemed odd that it was so high in the summertime,
Yeah.
or the wintertime, excuse me. So,
Okay.
Is there, I hear people say gas heat feels different than electric heat. Is that any truth to it? Does it really matter? If so?
yes, it does. It feels warm. The heat pumps, the tendency put about body temperature. So as that's blowing, you have air movement. So you don't use your ceiling fans too much in the wintertime because you're moving air, which tends to create a draft. The gas furnace, if it's putting out 120 degree air, say, that's 20 degrees higher than body temperature, 25 degrees, say, in that range. So you feel a little bit warmer. So, but if you're in an old drafty house, it kind of, it's a wash. Whereas in a nice tight house, the heat pump would tend to keep it nice and warm, just a body temperature.
Yeah. Okay.
So it does have a warmer feeling, like a fireplace. You just cuddle up next to it, and you feel like, So, especially if you're working outside in it all day long, and you come inside, you feel that nice warm heat. This is nice.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and I have the dual fuel. I have the heat pump with the gas furnace backup.
And you like it?
Yes, I do. House was built in '66, I believe. So it's old, and some walls are insulated and some walls aren't.
Yeah. It's like my parents' house.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, but that's where I'm at.
Well, it's great to have that backup too, in case
Right.
power goes out.
The power goes out, I can hook up a generator to it, where the heat pump, I'd have to have a generator big enough to carry the heat strips.
Right.
The gas furnace, I only have to have 15 amps. So a lot of your small generators can carry that.
Okay.
So,
So we're here to help, and we're here to review your options so you can schedule a no obligation comfort consultation with us today or anytime. Thank you for joining us, Samantha and Frank, and Jim and Deborah. And no pressure, just real education. You can ask us anything one-on-one after the seminar, or you can book a free home evaluation or schedule a comfort plan visit. We're always here to help. If you have any questions now or in the future, please reach out. We're proud to be your local heating and air educators and partners in home comfort.
thank you.